Now, George, I know you're going to be really excited about this. There's more MMA action this weekend.
Yeah, and you know what? And what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about UFC on Fox, Johnson versus Benavidez too. And I'm looking over the notes on this fight, dude, on this card. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's amazing that this card is even going on. And the reason I say that is because this is how it reads on Wikipedia. Ian McCall was expected to face. Jamie Varner was expected to face. Kevin Gastelum was expected to face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights on this card have been rescheduled. It's amazing this card is even going on. And I mean, I tip my hat to Joe Silva and fucking Dana White for pulling this off. But the one thing they have to help bail them out is a shit ton of fighters.
Well, yeah, and fucking Team Alpha Male, because I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Team Alpha Male, has pretty much every fighter in this fucking.
Well, do you notice where the event is?
Is it in Sacramento?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean and it makes sense. I mean, and we'll start with the Joe Lozon fight. Who's a Massachusetts boy.
Hold on, real quick. Do you want to take it? Did you see what the name of the venue is?
The name of the venue? What?
Yeah, Sleep Train Arena.
Sleep Train Arena.
And unfortunately, looking at this, ain't too many people going to be getting on the sleep train. Looking at these names, the only people getting on the sleep train could be the fans because they're all going to be asleep with all the decisions that'll probably be on this card.
Wake me up when it's over. But
I'm going to tell you what, the prelim card with Sam Stout versus Cody McKenzie, that's old Uncle Creepy. That should be fun. Pat Healy loves to finish fights. He's fighting against Bobby Green.
Right, and that'll be good.
Yeah, Danny Castillo's fighting Edson Barboza, who at one point was fucking lights out.
Yeah, and then he just kind of went into in the neutral for a little bit.
Yeah, then you got Court McGee versus Ryan LaFleur, which should be interesting because this is welterweight again for Court, which is a weight cut. So
and but he's done well at welterweight.
Yeah,
better than he was doing at middle, in my opinion. I mean, he just has looked pretty decent at welter, you know.
Yeah.
And he's starting off a little faster, but I'm done with that.
Well,
I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
I'd like to go back and pass up on that Edson Barboza comment because he only has one loss.
He's. I mean, but when was that last loss?
That was back in May of 2012. Since then, he won in January and he won in July of this year. But I mean, who he fought, I have no fucking idea who those guys are.
Yeah, he was on a roll. He was undefeated, and then he had that. He lost that one fight, and that kind of stopped his momentum. And now, he's
reeled off 2 in a row. If he wins this, that'll be 3 in a row. So
yeah, and Danny Castillo's definitely no pushover. But getting to the main fucking card.
Yeah, well, the first fight on the main card, Lawazin. Lawazin likes to be put. Lawazin goes after submission of the nights, knockout of the nights, fight of the nights. So you know what's going to happen there.
And the bottom line is, if you're facing this guy, you better be ready to fucking brawl because he's going to fucking bring it. As a statement or a thing they say in football, you better have your lunchbox. Have your lunchbox, Mac Danzig, because you will be fighting until the fucking last fucking bell rings. Because that's how the kind of guy he is. He just keeps bringing it. He's a tough guy, and it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. It's always an exciting fight, and that's pretty much all I can say. And I think he's going to win this fight. And my money's on Joe Lawazin. And then in the next fight, you got Chad Mendez versus Nick Lentz, and I'm. Well, but obviously Nick Lentz is a great fighter, but I mean, I just think Chad Mendez just has looked incredible. Like he's just looked pretty fucking unstoppable lately. I mean, Nick Lentz is riding he lost 2 in the UFC to Mark Bocek and then Evan Dunham, but then he's ripped off 3 in a row. So this will be interesting to see if he can keep this alive versus Chad Mendez, because Chad Mendez is tough. Chad Mendez is tough. I mean, he might, I just don't know if there's anybody out there right now. Last time we saw Chad Mendez, he stopped Clay Guida. He TKO punches, and before that TKO punches, before that knockout TKO versus Cody McKenzie. I mean, this guy's last loss was to Jose Aldo, and we know how good Aldo is. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, if you look at Aldo, and Aldo's got that, the featherweight class pretty much locked up right now. But I mean, it's kind of like back in the day with GSP and whatchamajig. The rest of the welterweight class. Yeah. Pretty much. But I'm going with Chad Mendez. I am too. I think that's a safe bet. Now, of course, we've got a bantamweight fight that's going to feature Urijah Faber and Michael McDonald, and this is a no-brainer. Hey, this fight's not for a belt, right? That's just what I was going to say. It's not for a belt, so Urijah Faber.
Yeah.
Now, we've told you, Michael McDonald, if you happen to watch this video before you meet Urijah Faber in the octagon on Saturday, fake like you have a belt and you'll win the fight, because otherwise you're going to lose the fight.
Well, and it should be. I would like to see Michael McDonald, I would assume, pull the upset. I mean, I don't have the odds in front of me, but I don't see how Faber isn't the favor here, or the favorite here. But McDonald's last loss was to Henan Barao, and that cat is nasty, and that was in London. So I mean, he got beat in his own backyard, because I'm assuming Michael McDonald's English with a last name like that.
And that is the
it's not. Oops, sorry, my bad. He's from California.
Yeah, and that is the Henan Barao that is just pretty much owns that class right now. So much to the point that in UFC 169, which will be in January or either February, he is a favorite over Dominic Cruz, the champion hasn't fought in like 2 years.
Henan Barao is going to dismantle Dominic Cruz.
Now, let's move on to the flyweight championship fight, and that's going to be between Demetrious Johnson and Joseph Benavidez.
Don't you mean flyweight?
Huh?
Flight weight,
son, and obviously, Demetrious Johnson is the favorite. He won the last time they met. He beat Benavidez in a split decision. But I tell you what, man, Joseph Benavidez has looked really, really fucking good. And it's not that I ever sleep on Demetrious Johnson, because he's one of these fighters kind of like GSP. He's just so good, and he doesn't really. Although his last fight, he looked incredible. But sometimes you forget how good Demetrious Johnson is, because he's pretty good at everything. He's awesome at everything. And he looks effortless in doing it. And so you think, and so you sleep on him, and then he ends up beating the person. But I will say, on the other end, he's going to be fighting a fighter that's looked really good and has been putting people fucking away in Benavidez.
So who are you going with?
You know what? I like to see these classes get mixed up, but I think I'm going to go with Johnson, because I feel like the last fight he looked really impressive when he put dude away, and I feel like I'd be sleeping on him. I'm going to go with Demetrious Johnson.
Benavidez, UD.
Unanimous decision?
Yep.
Yeah. He's going to have, for him to get a unanimous decision over Johnson, he better have a fucking engine.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna tell you what. On this card, there's if you look at the guys who are favored: Demetrious Johnson, Urijah Faber, Chad Mendes, Joe Lawson. You better be ready to fight and give it your all, because those four guys would rather die than lose. And that's one thing I will give all of them. Faber and Mendes fight out of the same camp. I mean, they're nasty. Demetrious Johnson has a gas tank. He never seems to ever slow down. And like I said earlier, Lawson's gonna go for that extra money, because he needs to feed his kids.
Yeah, it's going to be I think in anything. What the fuck am I trying to say? In any case, it's going to be a great fight. Those two meeting up against.
I guess the more important question is what kind of food are you going to be getting for this fight? Since it's a free fight, I figure you're going to make up for it in the food department.
Who? When you come up in my house, fucking farting on my couch and shit.
Yeah.
Hey man, did you see? I was funny, man, because you know how I am about the comments. I kind of get away from them. But did you see? It was one show we did, and you farted on the set. I was like, damn, dude, you're living foul. And I was looking at, and then some guy left a comment saying, the black guy's being really disrespectful. I'm like, man, how the fuck am I being disrespectful? This motherfucker done farted on my leg, and I'm talking about how stinky your ass is, and the guy says I'm being disrespectful.
You just got shit on, and you're supposed to be respectful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, guy,
I can dig it.
Yeah, hey, dude. If you, the guy who left that comment, if you're watching this video right now, guess what? Suck my dick. Okay, now back to action.